What's up YouTube, this is GalacticGod, and I'm finally coming at you here with my Yu-Gi-Oh! Q&A. But before I get into all the questions that you guys have asked me, I want to let you guys know that I will be at the San Diego Comic-Con from Thursday, July 9th, all the way through to Sunday, July 12th. So if you guys will be at the event, please, I encourage you to come find me. I should be somewhere around like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling room as well as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Booth a bunch of times throughout the event in between different panels and programs that I'm trying to attend. So if you see me there, please come up and say hi. I love meeting my subscribers. It's always great to see you guys in person. And if you find me in the dueling room, maybe we can get in a game or two or something like that. I think that would be pretty awesome. So anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions, starting with the two video questions that people send in to me.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Riddler channel and block. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. This is a video for GalacticGod. I actually have three simple questions for you. First question is, what are you trying to major in college? Second question is, what is your thought on creativity in the game? And third question is simply, what is your thoughts on it? Lose one turn. This is a pretty relevant topic at the time this video is being made. However, at the time you may get this answer, I don't know how relevant it's going to be. Right now there's a lot of ruling disputes. Either way, this was the channel on the block. This is my questions. Please answer them if you can. If not, hey, I understand you're a very busy guy, and catch you later. Bye.
So to answer your questions, for number one, my major study within college was sociology. At least that was what my major was. For number two, I would have to say that creativity is still very much alive within the game. I know creativity and competitiveness have never really gone hand in hand together, or at least not in recent years, but I think it's still out there. I think there is definitely a ton of creative deck builders out there giving us new and different and innovative kind of ways of playing the game. And I think that if you just look hard enough, or if you just, search up on YouTube, you can find a lot of these really great people. As for your third question, I think Lose One Turn is definitely a much more, balanced version of Skill Drain, since at least it only lasts that first turn. But in the certain kind of decks, the decks that would definitely use Skill Drain like Lee's and whatnot, it is still definitely a very powerful card and a force to be reckoned with. So, getting on to my second video question.
It is I, the Riddler. As you may see, I have successfully taken over GalacticGod's Q&A video to ask not a riddle, but a question to GalacticGod. If you were to create any Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype, what will it be?
I've always been a big fan of tribute-based archetypes. I think that might be one of the reasons why I love Monarch so much. And I just wish there was another really good tribute-based archetype out there besides just Monarchs. So on to the actual questions. First off, just let me say that thank you to everyone out there who submitted questions to me. Unfortunately, I cannot answer all of them. There was just far too many for me to put into one video. For one thing, a lot of them are kind of duplicate questions where people ask the same thing over and over again. So you still might see your question answered just from someone else's name. And also, I don't want to have like an hour or 2 hour long Q&A kind of video. I think people don't like to really sit around and watch me ramble on about my life in Yu-Gi-Oh! For that long. Anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into things. So the first question comes from Olynthiyo, and he asks, what's the most entertaining event, regional, YCS, etc., that you have ever been to and why? I guess I would say that my favorite event that I've ever been to was actually the San Diego YCS a couple years back. It was a Battle Pack event. Basically, instead of just playing Battle Pack in the top 16, you played Battle Pack all for day one. I mean, people had to keep stopping and reading each other's cards because they were ones that you normally wouldn't see in a duel. Plus, I got to go with a huge group of my friends, a lot of which normally don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. They did in the past, but they went ahead and attended this event anyways because it was Battle Pack, and the thought of playing with cards like Pot of Greed, DMOC, Regeki, Graceful Charity, Ring of Destruction, some of which these cards are now back in the game. Overall, though, it was just a really great, fun event and one that I definitely had a blast at. So Simo asks, what are you going to have Kazaki Takahashi sign at the Comic-Con? Kind of thinking about this for a little bit, and probably it's going to end up being maybe my LOB Blue Eyes or maybe one of my LOB Dark Magicians. I mean, it seems like the most logical thing to have him go ahead and sign up on my card. I don't know, probably something like that. Something definitely old school, that just screams traditional or original Yu-Gi-Oh! So Chris Jimis asks, I would like to know what was your very first deck that you consider competitive, and do you still use it? Technically, I cannot use it because almost all those cards that are in that deck are still placed on the forbidden list. I've been playing the game for an extremely long period of time, and I guess my very first very competitive deck would have happened during the era of like IOC. So there wasn't really archetypes within the game. It's just really you played all the very best cards. So cards like Painful Choice, BLS, DMOC, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Pot of Greed, Snatch Steel, Forceful Century, Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity. You know, many of these cards are placed on the ban list, and for good reason. And it was just kind of during that era of Yu-Gi-Oh! It was more or less a mismatch potch of just all the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was probably the first most competitive deck that I ever built in Yu-Gi-Oh! Kagurasho asks, I would like to know what your favorite animes are. I guess my favorite anime was one from a long time ago, so probably a lot of you guys do not know it. It's Escaflowne. It came out, I would have to say it, over a decade ago, easily. And to this day, it's probably one that I watch every few years, the whole series, if you will. And I don't know, just for some reason it's the one that I always tend to go back to and that I really like a lot. DualRock88 asks, how old are you? Which is definitely a question I get asked all the time in my different Q&A videos, and I'm 37 years old, which I guess is a lot higher than the standard kind of age for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. But I still think that the game is extremely fun to play. I've been doing it ever since I was in my 20s, and I really have no intention of calming down or stopping the game just because of my age. I mean, I enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So much, so I don't see no reason to stop just because I'm getting older. So P Bunny asks, where do you go to school at and what is your major? And I attend Cal State San Bernardino, out here in the city of San Bernardino in Southern California, and I majored in sociology, although I'm thinking of becoming a teacher. So towards the end of my run of getting my bachelor's degree, I decided to take a bunch of classes that would allow me to go forward and apply for the teaching credential program for this upcoming year. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some sub work once school starts back up, while I'm going through the teaching credential program, and if everything works out within a year, I might be teaching in actual classrooms. Ryan Nisker asks, with all of your schoolwork as well as your obvious skills in video editing production, where do you want to work and what is your end goal with your education? So as I just stated, I'm definitely thinking about going into the education field and becoming a teacher, though I do very much enjoy video editing and adding in special effects and just making videos in general. I think it's an awesome field to be into, and video production is definitely a great hobby of mine. I don't think it's probably anything I'm going to do professionally, but it's something I very much enjoy. Zarbon Zane asks, which number card from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal are you? For sure, number 39, Utopia. Yugi Nana asks, will you ever get back into the competitive scene? I guess you could say the answer to that really depends on how my schedule ends up being over the next year. I think if you're going to be competitive, you got to devote a lot of time and attention to the game, and you definitely need to attend locals every week. But not only that, attend a locals that has a really good caliber of players. So you're dueling at people not only at your own level or the level above you, so that you can get better at the game and definitely improve on your skills. Now, once summer is over and when the new season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Really starts up in September, I'm going to be, working during the day and going to school at night, so I'm not sure if I'm going to even be able to attend a locals during that time period. And so without being able to attend locals all the time and with, studying for school and whatnot, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! In a competitive aspect. Doesn't mean that I don't love the game very much, but I just know if you really want to be competitive, you really got to devote all that time and effort to it. Ash Ketchum asks, why don't you sell stuff on eBay anymore? For those of you guys who don't know, I used to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! By the caseloads. Every time a new set would come out, I would get, at least one, maybe two, maybe three cases of it. I would open all the product up here on my channel, and then I would sell a good number of that product up on eBay. Now, unfortunately, I do not do that any longer. It was a great way to make money during that time, but I just don't have the time and effort to be keeping up with posting stuff on eBay, because when you do that when you have a lot of product on eBay, you have to keep up with prices very closely, because prices in Yu-Gi-Oh!, as I'm sure a lot of you guys out there know, change dramatically like by the second almost, especially when a new set comes out. Card prices will jump up or go down, and you have to be on top of that so you can change the listings. In any event, it was a really fun, crazy ride, and I still do buy a lot of product. I still do buy boxes from time to time, just for my own, kind of personal collection now. I don't do it like I used to. I guess you never know, really. Maybe sometime in the future I'll get back to buying, caseloads of Yu-Gi-Oh product like that, but as of now, I don't buy product like that anymore, and so therefore I don't really use my eBay account as much as I used to. Yugimation asks, if you were not Yugi-tubing, what other community or hobby would you be interested in creating YouTube videos for? I guess the only other type of YouTube videos that I've ever considered making is maybe something like movie or TV show reviewer. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do that right now. And it's something that I thought about doing. I thought about making a channel with my son where we both reviewed movies that we just watched, because we have kind of similar taste in movies, although sadly not in TCG games. So you never know. I guess maybe one day you might see like galactic reviews or something up here on YouTube. Swiss Roll asks, do Yugi-tubers make good money? Well, good is definitely a relative term. What some people may consider good money, other people may consider, hardly anything. Whenever you make YouTube videos and you get a decent amount of a following, you put, ads on your videos, and you can make money off them. I guess I would say for the most part, Yugi-tubers make between $100 and $1,000 per month off of their YouTube account. Now, there are some Yugi-tubers out there, not me, I wish it was me, but it's not, who make well above $1,000, well above a couple $1,000s per month off of their YouTube videos. I'm sure you guys can probably guess who those people are, but unfortunately that's not me. I definitely make well within that range of 100 to 1,000. For me, I've always just kind of considered it a little bit of extra cash for this hobby that I enjoy. I usually, put that money back into getting new video equipment or, stuff for my computer, trips to events and stuff like that, or product or whatever. So it's never really been enough to live off of or anything like that. I mean, I wish I could make, a living off of just making YouTube videos, but it's not in the cards for me, if you will. So Sonic Zoroark asks, I've asked this question before, but never got any feedback. But am I in the right community? I love Yu-Gi-Oh, don't get me wrong, but based on the growth of my channel, I'm just barely hitting 120 subscribers, like my old channel which had 132 subs. How should I approach the Yu-Gi-Oh community to gain more subscribers / fan base, or should I just leave the community? I think that as long as you're passionate and enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh, then you should definitely stay in the community. It shouldn't matter how many subs you have on your channel or how many followers you have on Facebook or anything like that. If you like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you should definitely stay and continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Damon Nunez asks, this is a two-part question. Number one, what is your most valuable card in your possession, monetarily wise? And number two, what is your most valuable card in your possession, sentimentally wise? So monetarily, I don't think I really have any cards that are too crazy high expensive. I mean, I don't collect Shonen Jump or YCS prize cards or anything like that, and those are typically the most expensive ones. Now I've had like, Championship Pack, Book of Moons, and Spirit Reapers and Bottomlesses and stuff like that I've had in the past. I've pretty much sold just about anything that is super expensive like that. I mean, I've had, tour guides when they were like, pushing the 200 mark. I've had, Dark Armed Dragons when they were over 200, and I sold them at that point. But I don't really hang on to cards that are super expensive. Usually, if it's getting to the $100 or more range, I usually just get rid of the card because I know eventually it's going to get reprinted or the price is going to go down. I can just re-get the card at a much lower price, and since I'm not playing super competitive, I don't really need to hold on to those cards because I'm not, attending, major events all the time or just being really competitive in the game. So there's no real reason for me to keep those cards. As for sentimentally wise, I have a first edition Injection Fairy Lily secret rare card that I got out of my very first Yu-Gi-Oh pack that I ever bought. I got a secret rare card from that set. It was Injection Fairy Lily, and it was a card that I definitely love. I put it in like every one of my decks for forever, and it's a card that I guess really holds a special place to me. I'm able to bust it out and use it in decks every once in a great while, and it's probably the one that holds the most meaning to me personally. ZZ Go Get Taz asks, who are your top 3 current WWE superstars? Lately, I've really been enjoying the matches from Neville, Kevin Owens, and Dean Ambrose. And even John Cena's been putting on some pretty stellar matches with his US Open Challenge lately too. So those are probably the ones that I most look forward to every Monday night. So up next is my lightning round, so I'm going to answer some of these questions really fast. Marcus Moore asks, when is your birthday? December 18th. DeAndre Helbert asks, who is your favorite character in all 5 eras of Yu-Gi-Oh? Hands down, Yusei. Definitely my favorite character of all of them. Solar Zecker asks, is your chest as hairy as Olinthio's? Well, I'm like half Italian, so probably. Clay Lunsford asks, does your son play Yu-Gi-Oh? Sadly, no. Sean asks, when are you finally gonna get married? Dude, I'm already married. Pod DeFore asks, who would win a duel, Goku or Superman? Superman, duh. Papa Kylos asks, can you say, I love light swarms for no reason? Hell no. Alright, I love light swarms. Gorgamon asks, are you sure I can ask you anything? Yeah, you can. Pluck Edition asks, what is the song you use for your intro? It's Nevermind by Musical Man. Silver Star Stream asks, can you do something silly and sporadic? Fourth, Wave X asks, have you ever thought of quitting Yu-Gi-Oh? Now realistically, anyone that's been playing the game for a long period of time, I don't think can say that they've never thought about quitting. I think for me, the closest I ever came was when my deck was stolen from me. I was so fed up with the community at that point, and I just wanted to leave the game. Fortunately though, a lot of my friends convinced me to stay. They gave me a lot of their own cards, like extra copies they had of certain cards. They just gave them back to me, to try and keep me in the game. And they really helped me rebuild most of my deck pretty much overnight. And so I figured, if my friends were going to keep playing and I pretty much had my deck back, I thought, what the hell, I'll go ahead and stay within the game at least for a little while longer. And ultimately that tended to last a lot while longer to this day. Yanel Riviera asked, is there any way I can contact you easy like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? Yes, there is. In fact, there are links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram down in the description of every one of my videos. So if you ever want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, please I encourage you to go to any of those links and contact me there. So finally, the last question comes from RR, who asks, why do you like this game so much? This is kind of a hard question to answer in many ways, because generally you just want to say something like, oh, because it's fun, or I like playing it. And those things are true, but I guess the aspects that I really like are the creativity that it allows you to kind of come up with different ways of playing the game. There's more than one way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't just mean competitive casual, but there's just many different styles of decks out there, many different kinds of win conditions. There's a huge variety of ways that you can really be competitive in your deck building, and I think that has a huge appeal to me. Not to mention that although I definitely falter the community all the time, for what it is, it's definitely an aspect that I really also enjoy about this game. The fact that it brings myself and my friends closer together is very kind of weird and cool all at the same time. And the fact that I'm able to meet people from all around the world because of this community and converse with them not only over the internet, but when I meet up with them at big events is crazy and mind-boggling. And I think that the fact that this game can bring so many people together and that we all enjoy the game at some level is definitely very cool. But I guess really in the end it just comes down to the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is fun to play. And I guess that's going to pretty much do it for my Q&A. Thank you to everyone who asked me questions. I'm sorry I could not answer all of them here in this video. If there was something that I did not answer that you would really like to know, please leave me the question down in the comment section below and I will try and answer it there. And I guess that's going to do it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.